No, this is a fight that's going to go down for the rest of the afternoon, the day, tomorrow, today. This is going to be the big fight, and trust, guys, there's a lot of rivalry. This is a heated one between the two. Off the gate here, though, Threats looks like he's going to be the first to go down, and this is big. This is really big for Bully's team.
This is really big for Bully's team, and I mean, Chap has seen himself in this situation time and time again. I still feel like I give the crown to Chap having one of the most legendary off-spawn feuds against Tfue back in the Grotto days. Right now, Bully goes down, so right now, I think it is a 1v3, though. Oss is putting out some damage as well. Bully's very, very weak, but Frist and Oss are looking so healthy here, and I think we only have one player remaining on Chap's team unless they did capitalize. No. Yeah, and you talk about this team as well. Stretch he's kind of in that realm of his own where he has made every single FNCS finals ever. It came down to the reboot round for him to hold on to that legacy, and he managed to do it. We had players like Calculator, who unfortunately up until now had that legacy as well, but fell just short in that reboot round. But we have Bizzle, Clicks, and Booga potentially falling short here in game number 1. They're 112 below. There is a lot of teams around them. They have a lot of shield to out-heal this one, Monster. But again, we talked about it, whether it's just grand final jitters, whether it's the nerves, but this team, something's come unstuck here right in game number 1 as Booga goes off the builds. He tries to build and he can't catch himself. This is a player who has shown up on literally the biggest stage in the world, the World Cup champion solo winner, and he's fallen short here. This is very scary to see if you're a fan of Clicks, Booga, or Bizzle, which I'm sure a lot of people are.
Wait, but like this can still work out, maybe, sort of, because he gets more HP for the Storm Surge to tackle because he was down. So long as he doesn't get finished off, he might be able to come back, but I can't think that was the strategy. Of course it wasn't. It was definitely a blunder. It was a mistake here, and now these guys are going to fall, guys, to the Storm Surge. There's no way to get around it. They did not do enough damage. The preparation just wasn't quite there. The hottest team, the biggest team, the most consistent coming into this is down in game 1.
Yeah, they're setting up on that lower mid ground. We obviously had the analysts break it down at the start. We have a few big names that are looking to go down into what you call the crypts, Monster, where you really do pick up those frags, you go big or you go home. Illust is one of those teams as we then get a beautiful pan around to our kings of the high ground. Zate, Sap, and Stretch are set up. We're going to have 4 seconds until we see that zone show. Do they get first rotating zone? Because that would be monumental for this team, and unfortunately, they do not, but that doesn't spell too much disaster. They're marking the direction it goes. They're figuring out what's happening. They've got the bounces, and there they are. They're going to bounce onto front side. They're going to be proactive. This team does this a lot. You see Stretch and Saf go to the front side. They start building up in hard match to re-establish that high ground. Zate's going to hang back. He's going to get those big tags, the big damage. He's got that RPG in hand. Now that metal is starting to full build, he's going to bounce to the front side, and they have high ground again. This is going to be insane, Monster. We've seen this team show up, I think, in 2 weeks in a row, potentially 3. They got the game-opening victory royale last FNCS. I would be so unsurprised to see them do it here again today.
And it's not just that. It's like they do it tournament after tournament. I think they have a track record of taking home the game 1 victory royale. It's almost like everyone else is nervous for the big stage, but they're here. They take advantage of everyone else's passiveness, and they literally become champs. And there it is. You got to find some great tags that might lead to a free elim right there. We'll find out here shortly, and yes, it is. Stretch is going to go on and clean things up. This is a perfect situation. Not a lot of material picked up, but it is more than what they had before. Look at it. They're struggling right now mat-wise, so the harpoon is going to be more important now more than ever.
Yeah, they're going to have to find a refresh. If they can find those rockets as well that you talked about just before, you broke it down, the impact elimination, that's what we need to see this team have. They need to find the material, they need to find the rockets, they need to find what they need to make it to the end game, because they're dealing with teams like this. Centered Edgy Commandment, who don't have that dominant high ground position, but they're down here in the mid ground. They've already got 3 eliminations on the board for Edgy, proving that he is the fragger of this trio, despite how fantastic all of them are at fighting. They're now on front side, and this is where they set up the low ground. What a beautiful bounce pad, Monster. They get to front side, they claim all these builds, they build these massive open tarps, shotguns come out, and now they're going to stick hip to hip. You will not see this team go more than 1 or 2 boxes away from each other, and if anyone tries to push into this low ground, they're going to be ready for them.
Chimp is still alive too. Teo's still alive. Tabne's still alive. That's a full trio on the low ground. A dark horse to take this away. These kids pop off in these end games. Bully, Frisk, and Off. Full trio still up. On high ground though, we have a back and forth. Tahi, Gabe, and Sprite. They have done it again. These guys are kings at snatching them high, and it's always in zone number 7. How do they do it? They have a formula for success, and we have now seen Stretch, Zate, and Sap have to give it up. They don't have materials. They have now thrown away their high ground hold. As look at this. This is such a clutch situation now. They're going to have to struggle and fight their way back into this one.
Gabe, Tahi, and Sprite took it late. We saw this happen a lot during the qualifiers, Monster. We saw this happen to Zayd's team particularly. It was at the hands of your team, DJ and Aegis Skittles, but today it's Gabe, Tahi, Sprite. You talked about teams coming out here nervous. Gabe, Tahi, Sprite are a team that are not on too many people's radars, but they should be. Game one, when everyone's feeling nervous, everyone's trying to feel out the water, they show up big. They take high ground from the high ground kings to push out this victory out. Sentinel's on the low ground. The big tag comes out. Osp goes down. Sentinel's fallen, but Edgy and Commandment are still up. They can get these finishes. They can get this loot.
No.
The shakedown, no. Edgy gets the shakedown, but it's okay. They've cleared out the low ground, but he falls straight into the hole. Edgy, how are you still alive? It doesn't last much longer. It's all on the backs of Commandment, and he doesn't exactly have the loot to do it, Monster. 5 builds, 4 teams alive, 7 players. I have to think Gabe, Tahi, and Sprite on the high ground have this advantage.
Yeah, they definitely have the advantage, but still top 3 is so important right now. This is a make or break situation right now for someone like Commandment who is operating by himself. And you know what? He's got his work cut out for him. It's trio on trio action, and he's only got, 2 options. It's up or down. With the mats, he can't go up, so he's got to come on down. And let's see it here. He's going to try and play the zone here to see if he can steal away some of that placement, but it doesn't last very long. He rotates right into Twexy. Twexy's on the other side. If he can catch Twexy, that will be enough for him, but no! Commandment goes down first there.
Gabe, Tahi, and Sprite, you see that beautiful RPG from Sprite right now. These players have to step out. We get the knock on to Creo, and there it is. Gabe, Tahi, and Sprite with the game #1 victory out. 9 eliminations, Monster. They came out of nowhere.
Oh my gosh, and there's another team coming down from the weather station as well. It's going to be all or nothing right here. He's really going to have to do something phenomenal, and I don't know if they're going to have enough. There it is. 2 players now down. Gabe's down. Sprite's down. He does hit a headshot snipe, though. Hold up. I think he opens up. Oh, never mind. That I was about to say, dude. What? But, all right. Yeah, it's not looking too good, man. This is rough. This is rough for him to be in.
It's a rough one to be in now. I honestly think Tahi was going for that because I honestly feel like Tahi knows it back against the wall. I don't think he's got anything to work with here. I think that was pretty much like an emotional dig at the team trying to take down Kit, which would take out that team's ability to go for the upgrades. And unfortunately, Gabe, Tahi, and Sprite fall here. That was our first place team, and they're out here on spawn. 0 points, but it's not over here at Caddy Corners yet.
Yeah, for sure, but I don't know. I think just judging by how Bully and them are taking their time here, I was going to say maybe they're going to give them a little second just to get away to kind of keep things interesting, but no, they're not. Instead, Chap's going to have to take this fight here, and it's not looking too hot. He's on the run there. It is. First finds him once again. Little spray with the laugh. That's the GG right there. Respect to both sides. It was a well-fought battle, but just not strong enough for the veteran Chap, Duke, and Threats there as they fall. Again, one of the first teams getting wiped out here.
With that kind of a pedigree, with Acorn's stats there, you can't argue that he is up there as well. This team is phenomenal, and they get zoned both times inside Slurpee, and they have Avery, Slacks, and Illas pushing in on them. Not entirely sure what this team is doing here with this fight, but they get the capitalization. There it is, 2 eliminations on the Jack as I'm hyping him up as the big firepower in this team, and now they're looking fantastic in game #2. Yeah, Bully, Frist, and Osprey now in a fantastic position. They get first rotating zone. They came into this game in 6th place, and unless they do something massive to throw this one, I have to think we might see a team contested going into top 3 after game #2. But we saw last game, Zaysaf and Stretch, one of the most experienced teams on high ground, lost it out at this point. But you'll notice the difference in the loot, Monster. They have so many more materials. They have that harpoon. They're in a better position. They didn't force the high ground. They got given it in such a dominant fashion as we have Zypher, Twexy, and Nut pushing through here, breaking these builds, trying to find their way into an old top. They're 99 below. Can they get through and find their damage? There's got to be someone lurking in here because they need to find that damage. 53 above, and there it is. The player was caught off guard. They didn't hear it from behind. There's so much happening at endgame. The gunfire, the movement, the builds. They did not know an entire trio was lurking in their top. Now the duo does, and they don't like Twexy, Nut, and Zypher being here. They're going to try and push them out, but they got their damage. They got their refresh, and now they're beautiful to play their own layer and their own top. Fantastic play.
Yeah, and now 7 eliminations as well, and here it is. We're approaching that Zone 6. This is the full push right now. Zone 7 is going to come out, and that means that it's never going to stop from here on onwards. DJ's going to light up Osp in the feed. High ground, getting contested. I saw DJ and Aegis and Skittles right underneath them, and it looks like they're probably taking a stab up to the top. But on the low ground, these guys are working it. Twexy's going to find Aspect. Aspect who lands Salty Towers. You know they're going to be a little bit salty getting taken out here early in the end game before the top 10.
And we talk about the low ground kings. Zypher, Twexy, and Nut have not been in that conversation at all, but I think they're making themselves there. They have done so well to find themselves a way back into this game. You have Twexy and Nut, who took a little bit of a break, went to the console track, like we talked about, FNCS champion on the console track, have come back here to play on PC, and man, they are dominating right now. 7 eliminations for Twexy. We're just following this player because he is the one creating all the action, has that big, epic tactical shotgun, taking over the tarps as well, going to front side, trying to cut these teams off. They have been doing their research, and I love to see Zypher back on top. He's a player that really notably did not enjoy solos. He's not liking playing solos. He loves leading players. He loves leading the team, and that's why his value goes up massively, not just when it's a trio FNCS, but when you hit the final stage, when everything matters. He keeps the team together, and look how fantastic of a position he's put them in, Monster.
Yeah, not only that, Bizzle, DJ, and Agers, they all clashed on the low ground up against COD Genesis as well. It was a 3-way affair down here, and it's not looking good. Twexy, he's been here before. He's put up these numbers, and now he's doing it again, except he's doing it on the stage that matters the most, the FNCS stage, the biggest stage in the world. And now it is time to continue to close out here. We're looking at 21 players alive as we're getting into this last zone. That's a lot of gamers here. Like, there's still so much points on the board.
And I'm seeing Polarized light up the feed. I'm seeing COD Genesis light up the feed. There's big names in here as Twexy. Player comes on the backside of the top. I think that's a solo. If they can maybe find that player, it'll be a big elimination, but they need that top 3. The big placement as Nut goes down, but Twexy makes it 8 eliminations now. He is pushing for double digits as himself right now. We have 1 on Zypher as well, but Twexy is still up. He is feeling confident. His mechanics are clearly on point here today, and he's looking to try and close this one out from the mid ground. And this red's going to be scary. Mid ground has the eliminations, but do you get that top 3, and do you potentially push for that victory out? Because the teams on high ground, they're not burning through their mats. They're not running into risky players like this. But honestly, it's just coming down to sheer mechanics right now. They're just breaking their way through tarp after tarp as Twexy falls, and Zypher has to close this one out as a solo. He needs that top 3. His eyes are on that top 3, but he has no builds and next to nothing to work with. As we have Narwhal, Crunchy on the high ground. I don't see Zlem, but they're in a good spot to try and take this victory out.
And somehow Acorn, Jack, and Slacks are also in the game. Agers alive as a solo on the layer right in between them. Agers might be the definitive factor for that mid-ground team to go on and swing this thing around here. But Zypher, no material. This is intense for him to be in here. Remember, for every team that falls is worth so much placement points. And let's not talk about breaking into that top 3. The finish line is almost there. Can you just stretch it out? Here's the real question. Here's a fight that matters so much. And no, he gets dived on and now scratched out of the lobby.
You talked about the finish line is there. We've had the jog. We've had everyone set up, but now is the sprint finish. Who is going to sprint through this lobby? As Slacks is a full trio, goes down to being a solo now. Slacks is trying to do big things on the mid ground. Mars is still in this, clashing reverse 2K on the backside. That's 3 teams alive, 4 players, and it does. It goes over to reverse 2K. Day and Miro, our ex-FNCS champions, is capitalized with a big RPG shot.
It is Day, Miro, and Reverse, your ex-FNCS champions. Well, I shouldn't say ex, our reigning FNCS champions from last season. You know, there's a lot of weight on these guys' shoulders. We know.
In a trio that we're seeing climb up the leaderboard here, Slacks, Acorn, and Jack, who has been a favorite, who's been a talking point in every single qualifying week and in their heat and semifinals. And, you know, it's great to see them finally start to climb up leaderboards here. They're going to round out their